So let me get this straight now. You've gotten through the cancer, you've gotten through the chemotherapy, the radiation, and so on, and now you're back to your normal life.
Right.
And you're feeling wonderful.
Right.
But as a precaution, perhaps just so that you can assure yourself everything's okay, and then you're going back.
I want to make sure that I don't have anything else wrong with me at the time.
Good.
And I was feeling the best I felt in 47 years.
Wow. Okay.
Now, I still was eating the fast foods and all that other stuff. Wasn't taking too good care of myself.
Okay. So your eating program really hasn't changed?
That's correct.
Okay. Gotcha.
Now, but during that period of time, we've never been really big red meat eaters, mostly chicken. You know, we'd have chicken maybe 5 times a week. So
okay.
I didn't feel that I was doing too many terrible things at the time.
Which is the point that we were making before. So in your mind, you thought that you were eating fairly well.
Right.
Better than the guy that's having a steak every night and so on and so forth.
Right.
So, okay, good.
Right. So I went for my physical, and my CEA level was 5 times or 6 times what it was when I completed the program of the chemotherapy. So the doctor recommended that I go for some additional tests because I was at the point where people need to investigate why that's caused. After 2 CAT scans, an MRI, and ultrasound, it was determined that I had a mass on my liver, and it was probably because it was from my colon cancer from 2 years ago, and it spread to my liver. Taking the pictures, it was discovered that there's very few people in the world that could, because of the position of where the cancer was on my liver, it was very important, number one, that it be taken care of immediately, and there were only a few people in the world that could do this. So I found somebody in New York, in Sloan Kettering.
You're talking about a surgeon, a specific type of treatment from a specific type of surgeon.
That's correct. And I was told it was a very difficult procedure, and they removed the mass that was on my liver. Due to the nature and location of it, it was recommended when I recovered that I go back for chemotherapy.
Now, you must have been going through a bit of a trauma here because you already went through one procedure, you already had chemo and radiation, and you expected a 95% recovery.
That's correct.
Is that correct? Is that what they had told you?
That's correct.
I can imagine what you would feel. I can imagine even other people who have similar problems, how they're traumatized.
Well, it's even worse than that.
I can't imagine it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, what this top-notch surgeon told me was that I'm not sure whether I can remove this for you, Jack, and if I can't, you have 6 months to live.
Wow.
Now, my wife and I went to him thinking that everything was fine. The people here in New Jersey, you know, they said, you know, you have to get this operated on, but it wasn't like it was that detrimental or that critical. So here we are in the office. I mean, like, you know, this is the first, somebody telling me that you only have 6 months to live if he can't do anything, and even if he does, I'm not guaranteed that I'm going to leave the table. So the surgeon told us to come back in about a week. Well, during that 1 week period of time, first I was in denial. I said, this can't be happening. And then I said, okay, if the medical profession can't help me, I have to help myself. And I think I'm like most people out where we rely on the doctors to take care of us. Almost everybody I know, you know, when you go to your physician, you're going to follow his instructions because you feel that he's taking care of you. And at this point of my life, I says, I don't think these folks can help me any longer, because again, I was under the impression that when I went back next week, he was going to say, I can't help you. So here I am, and I'm on the internet, and I'm trying to find people out there that can, alternative medicine, alternative lifestyles to say, I can turn this around. When I first found that my CEA level was high back in May, talking to somebody at work, I went out and I bought the juicer. So on my own, I started to go into the juicing regimen right then and there to say that this should build up my immune system, and if indeed I do need to go through surgery, at least my body will be prepared for the surgery and hopefully give me a better chance at recovering.
Now, by juicing, you mean fresh juices? You were doing your own vegetables and juicing them through?
I was doing the carrots, the apples, parsley, and everything 3 times a day at that time.
Sure. For the listening audience that keeps hearing CEA, there's your CEA count, I'm not so sure if they'll understand what that means. Can you explain that a little bit?
CEA count is just a count of, I guess, CEA might be cancer something cells or whatever, okay. And it's just a count where it comes back and says if it's between here and here. For example, what they said was that between 0 and 3, about 90% of the population fall in between 0 and 3. And between 0 and 5, maybe 95% of the people. So there's some tables to say that when you're within a certain range, you fall within some guidelines.
Right. It's considered to be relatively normal.
That's correct.
Right.
And then there's a small percentage of the folks that have it, up to 100 or so.